everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about my transition from being a front-end developer to now a full-time UX designer. So the reason why I chose to make this video is because there are a lot of people who are in front-end development or UI development and they do have inclination towards design or they want to transition into design. So this video is going to be super useful for them as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So let me give you a little bit brief about my background and how I started with my first job. I was not someone who was into design right from college or from the school days. When I entered into my first job, I was into the role of a software engineer, and we were allowed to pick different roles like front-end development or back-end development. And that time I thought that let me try my hands into both of them and then realize what my real calling is. That led me to go into front-end development because I thought that is similar to design. And I found it very fascinating to write CSS code and then you can see quick results on the screen. And for me, the interesting part was to play around with colors, play around with fonts, and then quickly see the results after deploying it on the screen. Slowly, I started exploring more about CSS. I read about CSS transitions, CSS animations, CSS3 animations, and then I began getting interested into how do you write code which can animate objects, which can provide different kinds of transition and which can move elements. That's how my initial interest grew as a designer. But little did I knew that all of this is not everything about design and there is so much more to be explored. My interest grew and hence my curiosity, which is when I started talking to senior people in my company to know more about design and started reading up more about the design process, which I'm sure all of you must be aware of. So while all of this was a part of my learning about design, I was still in the role of a front-end developer. So whenever I was given a particular piece of work, maybe to do some alignments or give a different color or different styling to a particular element, I started thinking like a designer. Why are we supposed to place this button for cart page? Why are we having this particular layout and why are these blocks of element one below the other? Can we have some other orientation of it? And this is where I started questioning more and more about the whys of a particular design. Not just that, I was also interested in providing different kinds of animation to buttons or transition, and I wanted to incorporate all of that into code as well. And that led me to get my initial interest in motion design. So as a developer, I used to think that this design is something which is feasible because it can be coded. And that's where my engineering background and my development background still plays a major role in what I design even currently, because I always think about the feasibility. I always think about how this design can be practically implemented. And I still think that because I was a front-end developer, I was able to get the engineering perspective in my mind. And that is an added advantage. When I started reading up more, I realized that just by having an inclination towards design or having that creative mindset, you can't really land in a designer job. And then I came to a conclusion that designers need to have a design portfolio. And a design portfolio is creation of your work which you have done in the past or some personal projects which reflect how you think as a designer and how you solve problems. This was really difficult for me because I did not have any projects which I had earlier worked on which was into design. I did not have any personal projects as well, and neither I was in the role where I could have some work related to design. So I approached my colleagues so that I can have some experience of what the design process is, what is it to be able to work as a designer in a company. And I started shadowing a mentor to see if I really fit into the role, if I really understand how we can solve the problem of the users. I was fortunate enough to find that kind of role inside my company itself, where I could shadow a mentor in a UX project and understand how they follow a design process to solve the problem of their users. And the ad that was extremely beneficial to me because I could understand things like wireframing, things like prototyping, also understand what user research is and how you can do initial research, how do you do competitor analysis, how do you do heuristic evaluation, and a lot more. So this was my first exposure about what it is to work in a real UX project. And once you get that initial exposure, then it is really easy for you to start working on similar projects or personal projects so that you can add them to your portfolio while you are solving a problem. When you start picking up projects for your portfolio, or you start picking up some personal projects so that you can put it on your portfolio, make sure you are solving a problem which you see around in your day-to-day life. It can be a very small problem, but you would be amazed to see that you will yourself start getting into a lot of details about how much you can research on a small problem and how good you can solve it as a designer. There's one more advantage, I think, which you have if you are a front-end developer and who wants to transition into design, is that you can show your development skills in your design portfolio. And that is extremely beneficial, and it will work in your favor because then you can talk the engineering language, you can communicate very well with the developers, and you can also give them ideas about how you can implement a particular design in a particular way or a different way. Well, I hope you all got some pointers about how you can make a successful transition from a front-end role to a design role. Let me know in the comment section below if you have been able to do that successfully and what all obstacles you had faced in doing that transition. Don't forget to share this video with someone who you think is going to make a transition and has inclination towards design. I will see you all in the next video with some more learning experiences. Till then, take care and thank you.